This is Jeff Rouse checking in from Our Story Studios, and look who stopped to see me.
Hello, I'm Jeff Schmidt, owner of the Fairmont Butcher Block.
It's a pleasure seeing you again. Of course, my wife and I are very familiar with your place. Good food. How can you miss it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we just got done shooting an episode of Martin County on TV. Would you like to see that right now?
Let's do so.
Hi, I'm Jeff Hagan. I'm manager of the Fairmont Photo Press, and today joining me we have a business owner from the city of Fairmont in Martin County who's been involved with this business for a number of years. We have Glendon Olson with the Good News Bookstore. Glendon, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jeff. It's good to be here.
Well, we want to talk about your business itself. It's the Good News Bookstore, but can you tell us how you got into the bookstore business and why did you do it?
Okay, back in the 70s, I was teaching school. I taught school for 15 years, and I thought, am I going to do this until I retire? And I thought, I don't think so. So I started looking for businesses, and I looked at hardware stores, and none of them were around here, and just didn't quite seem to be the thing that I was looking for. And then our pastor knew about it, and he said to me one day, how about a bookstore? And I thought, I wonder about that. And I'd seen the bookstore here because it had been here since 1946.
Oh.
A pastor by the name of Dexter Collins founded it, and it was over between 1st and 2nd Street at that time. And so I went to visit him, and he said, well, there's other people considering it. And he said, finally, you're next. And it was just kind of like process of elimination. And so finally he said, yeah, I think I'll sell it to you. And so in our conversation, he was kind of known for doing something unusual, and that was standing on his head. And he said, do you want to see me stand on my head? And we said, sure. So he got right down on the floor and stood on his head. And this was also kind of interesting because he was 89 years old at the time. And so it was time for him to retire. And the piece of advice I got was quit before he did. So I don't know, now it's not that far away. It goes pretty quick. And so then I got into it, and I wanted to do something different than teaching.
Okay.
And so that was in 1978.
Well, like many businesses, things change over the years, and because you've been involved so many years, what have you kind of noticed as far as what's changed through those years?
Oh, so many things have changed, especially downtown Fairmont.
Yeah.
Downtown Fairmont used to have a lot of retail stores, and now there aren't so many. And we've even seen this in the big marketplace, big box stores, even name brands that have closed their doors. And in Fairmont here, it's been because of retirement or relocation or just doing something else. And so I'm just glad to be around.
Okay.
And over the years, the change I've seen also is in our churches and young people going to church, and the sizes of Sunday schools. A lot of the congregations are getting smaller, and people are getting up in years, and so then there aren't the kids there anymore.
Sure,
And that's a big change.
Oh, yeah. Let's take a little bit of a break. As you know, TV has been in Fairmont. We've had local television for a number of years. And so why don't we take this little break and take a look at a segment we call
Martin County on TV Flashback.
One lifestyle that disappeared with the change in time were the car hops that used to serve us at drive-in restaurants of the past. Reporter Len Tweeten visits with two former car hops at a drive-in from Fairmont's past in this week's History Moment.
This is Lenny Tweeden at the Martin County Historical Society's Pioneer Museum. About a year ago, we interviewed and talked to some people that owned restaurants, drive-in restaurants that are no longer in existence. And it's kind of a follow-up now. Today we're going to talk with a couple of people that worked at the drive-in. They were car hops, and I believe they both worked at the Feed Bag. I'll introduce them. To my left is Jerry Martin and Kate Lavin. Okay, to begin with, if one of you could just tell us, you both worked at the Feed Bag?
We did. I think it was the summer of '75.
Okay. What are some interesting experiences that you remember, some things that kind of stick out in your mind from your time working there?
I think working at the Feed Bag as a car hop was everything everybody thinks of as a car hop job, except for the roller skates. Well, we didn't have roller skates, but other than that, it was just a terrific summer job for a high school girl.
How many summers did you work there?
I think I worked there 2 or 3 summers, probably starting 9th grade. Did we work like 9th, 10th, and junior year?
Yeah, that's probably right, and I think I maybe worked there 2 summers.
Okay, was this a job that was in, kind of demand for kids at that time that were in high school, more so than maybe inside a restaurant as a waitress?
I think so, just because of the fact that it was summer and everybody wanted to be outside. It was kind of fun. It was a regular outdoor drive, and there was very little indoor seating at the feed bake. So it was the kind of place where you came in your car or your bike or you walked, and we got to be outside all the time. It was great.
What I liked about it was that you either started work at 4 or at, I think, 5:30, 2 shifts. So the early person would come at 4, the second person would come at 5:30, and so you had your whole day free, because we would be playing tennis, swimming,
Right.
riding our bikes,
Right.
Gotta get to work, time to go, 4
That's
o'clock,
right. That's
so
right.
you really had your day in the summer to enjoy the outdoors, and then work in the evening, and then a lot of times friends would come out there, so it was kind of social even though you were working.
Yeah, I was thinking, I recall, one of the summers in particular, I recall seeing people we didn't know maybe 4 or 5 times. So in other words, this was a real local place, regulars.
Sure.
So it's kind of the hangout of the kids at that time.
Right. And plus, we were good friends, and we both worked there. And then we
Right.
were friends with the other people that worked there. So it was going to work and really knowing everybody. That part was
Right.
enjoyable.
Right, and it was summertime, so a lot of teachers that we knew would come and that was a lot of fun, because we knew them all too. We knew their cars, and it was kind of fun to have. I know Mr. Perrin was a big tennis player, and I know he would go and play tennis with Mr. Zinner, and they'd play tennis and then come out to the feed bay for a root beer or a float or something.
Do you remember what you were paid for working there at that time?
We were just talking about that. I
Yeah.
think maybe like $1.40 an hour.
I think we never broke $1.50. I don't think. And the thing was, I don't think I really came home at the end of the summer with much at all, because we ate so much. The food was great. The food was great. And so and because you were starting around supper time,
Sure.
I would a lot of times just plan to go there and start by eating dinner and then kind of starting work.
Sure.
And we paid for the food that we ate. And so a lot of times, many evenings, I remember thinking, wonder if I actually earned anything tonight.
Now, did they tip car hops at that time?
Sure. We would get tips.
Yes.
And remember, we were talking about this was someone we called affectionately Chicken Man.
Yes.
Who would come in and order a half a chicken religiously, park in the same spot in the lot, never varied, and we'd kind of argue over who got Chicken Man, because it was a guaranteed quarter tip. He would always leave one little shiny quarter on the little green plastic mat. Remember when you go pick up the
That's
tray?
right. That's
Chicken
right.
Chicken Man would leave you the quarter. So, and that was considered a good tip, remember?
Oh, absolutely. That's why we kind of fought over it a little bit, because it was
There's
a
Chicken
good.
Man, he's mine!
That's right. You could count on that 25 cents.
And
at
I
least.
honestly did not know who he was. I never knew that gentleman's last
No,
name.
And I'm afraid I don't think we ever will.
Okay, you mentioned chicken for Chicken Man. What were some of the favorite things on the menu that you recall that people like, or yourselves?
Definitely the hot beef sandwiches.
Yeah, I think
she was
famous for the hot beef sandwiches. Eleanor would cook these roasts all day, and then the sandwiches were served on a kind of a rye or a dark bread rather than a bun, and people liked that. I think they were just. She was known for them, and I think it was her recipe, or it was the family recipe
Right,
anyway,
a secret
for sure.
recipe.
Secret recipe. And the feed bag did not serve French fries.
No, it was tater tots. And you could get a large tot or a small tot. And that's how it was even on, remember the big painted board
Right.
sign?
That's right.
Where you drive in, because it wasn't like the drive-ins that were probably a little bit more modern, even back then, where you drive in and there'd be a menu right by your driver's side window. The menu was painted on a big whiteboard in the parking lot. So you kind of had to be looking, reading the board, and there'd be large tot, small tot, tater tot were probably...
That's right. And there was potato salad, but there were no French fries.
What about the prices of the items on the menu? Do you remember just generally what they were?
Well, I was looking at that little menu I found. The most expensive thing was the shrimp in a basket dinner. at
Sure.
$2.95.
Okay.
And the least expensive was getting tea for 15 cents.
Okay.
which was a little better deal than coffee.
A little bit different than it is today.
More of a bargain.
Well, how many years did you work there, did you say?
I think I worked there 2 summers.
2 summers?
Yeah.
And I think I was probably there 3.
What are some of the most interesting or unique experiences you remember from that time working at the feedback?
The one thing that I think Jerry and I will never forget is the what we refer to as the rock in the door, because this was a small drive-in. Like I say, there's very little indoor seating, maybe a couple of stools for people to sit on, and 2 screen doors at either end. And so you would get an order, go out and take an order with a pad of paper. As Joe mentioned, there was none of this speaker box, A&W style speaker box ordering. We'd go out with a piece of paper and take an order, go back in, give Eleanor the order so she could make the food, and then we'd put it on a tray, and then you would go out one of the screen doors, and it was typical if you were carrying a heavy tray with mugs of root beer and hot beef sandwiches, you would kick the door open. Well, it was a gravel lot. And so many times a little rock or stone would catch in the door as you were kicking it. The door would immediately fly back in your face, and if you were not really, really fast, that tray of food was either on your lap or on the floor. So you had to be real, real sharp, very attentive, and very fast.
Sounds interesting. A lot of people probably don't know where the feedback was located. Could you tell us where it was located?
Out on Albion Avenue, as you drive past, is it Hall Lake? Past
Yes.
Hardin's Market?
Yes.
Right in that
yes.
area.
Yep.
On the way to the
Yes,
Sterling
Hardin's.
House.
That's right.
Okay. Well, Kate, Jerry, thank you very much. Appreciate your taking the time to come in and talk to us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks again. This is Lenny Tweeden for Hometown Focus.
Martin County on TV flashback.
We're back, and we're talking with Glendon Olson. He is the owner of Good News Bookstore, and we've been talking about some of your history with the store itself. But it also, as in many businesses, it has to have some kind of a passion. What drives you to have this store?
Well, our little slogan is we're more than a bookstore. And so we not only have books, but we also are kind of like in a ministry, or let's say a faith store.
Okay.
And we serve all churches, and even people that don't go to church are certainly welcome. And one of the things we want to get across is that we want to encourage them in their relationship with the Lord and prepare for eternity. And so it's kind of like if you were going to a special occasion, you would take some time getting ready, dressing up, and being ready to go and do whatever occasion it is. And so that's kind of like being in a dressing room. And I look at life as all of life being like a dressing room. And it's a dressing room for the future, our destiny beyond this life. Okay. And so one of the things then is to get to know the Lord and not just know about Him, but to actually know Him. And so that's the passion that we have behind the store.
Okay. Well, you mentioned that you're more than just a bookstore, and I know you have some products here. Maybe tell us a little bit about what else you offer besides books. Christian books that you have in the store.
And we do special order books, all kinds of books.
Sure.
Not just the Christian ones, but others too. One of the products that we have is made locally, and local things are always fun to have. There's a lady from the community that makes these, and she does a nice job. She does a variety of subjects and topics and colors and things for kitchen towels. Okay. And she's excellent at doing these. This one happens to be about coffee, so I don't know if it's coffee time yet or not. And then another thing that we have is
that's neat.
A little cross. And we have different styles of these, and they just fit in your hand nice like this, and you can hold them to give you a tangible reminder of your faith. You can use them for baptisms, for confirmations, for someone who's sick, maybe someone who's not doing well, maybe has a terminal disease or something, that they can just have something to cling to.
Sure.
And of course, clinging to the cross is a good thing.
Yep.
Another thing that helps people along their spiritual walk are devotional books. This one happens to be Jesus Calling. It's a book that people have told me it has just the thing that they need for that day. And countless times I've heard this. And so it comes in also different formats, and people really enjoy that little book. A thing that we carry the inspirational and non-inspirational, and this happens to be the non-inspirational, the Watkins products. This is the vanilla that made them famous, and then of course they have excellent cinnamon and a well-known salve that's just really good for cuts, burns, and scrapes and all kinds of things, heals them up and makes them soft and less painful. And this is the Petrocarbo salve. And then they have pain relief things like the cooling gel. Somebody has told me that it really works good for arthritis and that kind of thing. We also carry cards. We have individual cards, we have boxes of cards like this one, and they're reasonably priced so that each individual card in the box then would come out for about 50 cents. And it's a reasonable card that you can send encouragement to someone.
And you have seasonal cards, I'm assuming,
Seasonal
too?
cards,
Yep.
birthday cards, get well cards.
Confirmation.
Yep.
Okay.
Just a big variety of cards.
Sure.
Another product that's been in town, and I think we're the third business, or maybe fourth, to carry this one. And these are the Coffee Masters specialty coffees. And there's flavors, there's just the straight old coffee that we like. Well, it's good coffee. And then like for your Bibles and other books or things, we have cases that you can carry and put your Bibles or notebooks, or I suppose you could even put a note tablet in one of these things too.
Sure.
So those are some of the things that we carry.
And you have much more, but they have to come to your store to be able to find that. So speaking of coming to your store, how can people find the Good News Bookstore?
Okay, we're easy to find. We're in downtown Fairmont, and you can drive downtown Plaza to 3rd Street and then take a right, and we're just around the corner. We're the only business on the right-hand side of the street there.
Oh, okay.
And so we've got good parking. Most of the time you can park in front of the door if you want, and then there's a city lot right next to us across the alley.
Well, I've been in the store myself. I know you have a lot of great things there. I've actually, one of the things I always liked was all your different types of music that you have, your music books and music CDs,
Music
DVDs.
CDs,
so you have a lot of those kind of things too.
Videos, and we have wall hangings, we have musical chimes, wind chimes, I guess you'd call them. And so there's just a big variety, and it's probably one of those things you need to come in to see it.
Exactly.
In order to appreciate all of the variety that we have.
Right. Well, Glendon, we talked about the products that you have. We've also talked about how they can find your store in town, and they find you online.
Yes, they can. We have a website, and I have a company that makes the website for us, and they have things on there that we don't have in the store, but we also have things in the store that aren't on the website. So that makes the trip worthwhile to come and see what we've got.
Perfect. Well, Glendon, I appreciate you coming in, telling us about the Good News Bookstore today, and make sure you stop on down and check those guys out because they're worth going to. It's a great stop to go to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Well, look who stopped by to see me.
How are you?
Nice to see you
to see
again.
you again
Tell the
too,
folks
Jeff.
who might not know who the heck you are.
So I am Connie Anthony. I'm the CMO at Peterson Anthony Insurance.
Well, Connie, it's so nice to have you back. I know you have some pretty exciting things happening in your business.
Yeah.
But before you share that, just give a kind of an overview for those that may not know about the business.
Yeah. So we are a 3rd generation owned independent insurance agency. We've been in business. We're in our 103rd year.
Wow.
Yes, my husband's grandfather started the business. We sell personal and commercial lines of insurance. We insure farms, small commercial. We do health insurance.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you serve the area, not just
Yes.
Fairmont, but the county and a little beyond.
Yes, so we write business within at least 150-mile range. We're actually licensed in the surrounding states, North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Wisconsin, and then Arizona too. So we can
Arizona, too.
insure
That's right, I forgot
our
that.
snowbirds.
Connie, as you know, there's been a television show in Fairmont for 25 years.
Yes.
And we've been showing a lot of very interesting clips and segments over those last 25 years.
Yeah.
So right now we're going to take a little bit of time and see a segment we like to call
Martin County on TV Flashback.
Focus on Fairmont. We're back talking the Carl Nettifee Animal Shelter. Police Chief Thiel, you've been around the block quite a number of times, and you were here when we got this thing started. What do you think about it? It seems to be nearing completion.
It's a great addition. When I got to Fairmont, our dog pound, quote unquote, was a little red barn with 2 jail cells that were transfers from the old City Hall Police Department.
Okay, so we've come a long way since then?
Absolutely. It's much needed. We're going to be able to do a lot of things for the animals in terms of adoption, better care, and so forth.
Well, let's take a look. We've got some video of that right here on Focus on Fairmont.
From 1970 to 1991, Carl Nettifee was a member of the Fairmont Police Department. He was the animal control officer. If people were missing a pet, they'd contact Carl and he'd start looking. If a bat wandered into someone's home, Carl got the call. If abandoned puppies were found in a ditch, Carl was the one who came to the rescue. His compassionate and caring personality made him a well-loved public servant. Night or day, noon hour or weekends, if Carl got the call, he'd respond. Carl even had several regular customers who, when they saw his truck, would come right over and jump in. His wife, Charlene, reminisces.
When he first started, many of the animals weren't licensed, and so it was very hard to find what dog belonged to whom. And over the years, the licenses tripled as he worked with the public to have them license their animals, so in case that it did get away from home, he could bring it home.
For years, Carl and the Sentinel photographer Bob Schroeder teamed up weekly to produce a Pet of the Week feature.
The beautiful part about that was that the Pet of the Week always found a home, and then a lot of the other ones, as the people would come out to look, would also find homes. So it was a beautiful way of adopting the animals from the Humane Society.
In 1991, Carl retired from the police department and was commended for his years of dedication. After his death in 1993, the city of Fairmont and the police department decided to honor his memory by naming a new animal shelter after him. Grassroots fundraising efforts were started in the community, and after many bake sales, beautiful pet pageants, magazine drives, and pet walkathons, a groundbreaking ceremony was held on April 1st of this year. The Carl Nettifee Memorial Animal Shelter was becoming a reality. Through the efforts of the Martin County Humane Society and dedicated volunteers, all but $5,000 has now been raised. The current dog pound next to the wastewater treatment plant will be replaced by a new shelter that will provide more cages and runs so that fewer animals will have to be euthanized due to lack of space. City officials and contractors are meeting regularly and expect the facility to be completed by July 15th. If you'd like to support the Carl Nettifee Memorial Animal Shelter, contact the Martin County Humane Society at 238-4822. For Focus on Fairmont, I'm Nancy Kotzer.
Martin County on TV Flashback.
Well, we're back.
Yeah.
So now, last time you were here, we learned a lot about your business, but we wanted to have you back because we know you have some pretty exciting things happening. Tell me.
So we're doing some new things with our business. Insurance has changed a lot, and writing a home and an auto used to be pretty standard about 20 years ago. Writing a farm, but now our farmers are doing a lot of unique things in agriculture and marketing their grain, their livestock, things like that, and people are doing a lot of unique things too. So it takes a little bit more time to make sure that we know what you're doing and we can make sure that you've got the coverage you need. But then also, we want to start building relationships with your financial planner, your attorney, your tax accountant, so that we make sure that everything is meeting your goals. It's helping you live out your hopes and dreams.
So you're becoming part of a team.
Correct. And each industry is so unique. Your tax accountant can tell you one thing, or your attorney can tell you something that might be beneficial for your business. It doesn't mean that it lines up with the best way to do it in insurance. So we want to make sure that we're talking together to make sure that it's right for you. And that, because it's hard to expect that your accountant knows everything about insurance, or your attorney or your financial planner. They need to specialize in what they do. So we want to build those relationships to help you, again, live out your hopes and dreams, protect the assets that you work really hard for.
And all of these factors to individuals are so separate and confusing. So to have expert that can kind of come in and direct in what would be best served
Exactly.
For an individual has to be a tremendous asset.
And we're trying to build on being a resource for our customers too, so that they can come to us, and if they have a special need that we can't meet, we want to help you find resources. If you're happy working with us, then hopefully you would trust someone that we would send you to.
Absolutely.
They're going to work with you in a similar way, because we like to build those partnerships and work with people who work similarly to us, that have a high degree of integrity, that want to build relationships and build lifelong relationships with their customers.
This is a big, not change, but addition to what you guys are doing.
Yeah,
That's
it
very
is.
exciting.
It is. And it's just a whole new way of helping people.
Sure.
And it's not transactional. When you're buying online, anything is online. With buying shoes, buying toilet paper, buying insurance is transactional when you do it online.
Sure.
And it can be done, but there's so much more that you need to think about. And having those people that want to have your back and want to get to know you and just care about what's important to you.
Well, you can go, like you were saying, you can go online and get something done. But I know firsthand, you can't find anything out. What is this best for us? Yes, here's the price, here's here's what it does supposedly. But there's so many loopholes that you never know about. That just to have an expert to be able to talk to makes such a difference.
Well, and I think particularly buying insurance online, I get nervous when I see the commercials that say, name your price. But do you really understand what you're buying when you're picking your price? Because you're going to be looking at, oh, hey, this is good. This fits my budget. I can save here. But most people don't really understand all the implications of the decision that they're making. And we want to help you. We do our very best to get you the lowest premium that's possible. But understanding what you're buying and how it's protecting you also helps you go, okay, well, it's a little bit more than I wanted to spend. However, I feel confident that the things that I want to protect are protected.
And why do you have insurance in the first place?
Exactly.
Is because you want to be protected. And it's important to be protected. If you're just going for the lowest price, stating the same thing, you're missing out what could be the reason you have it.
Exactly. And you do get what you pay for in insurance too. One of our marketing reps once said, without going into a long explanation, but when you're looking at how much liability coverage do I need, if you're buying really low limits and you've done something to someone and they're coming back after you because you're at fault for harming them personally or hurting their property, and you have really low limits, do you want the lawyer that goes with those low limits?
Exactly.
Or are you willing to pay for higher limits to get the attorney that goes with those higher limits? Because the insurance company, will have attorneys that will help defend you, but you do get what you pay for.
Absolutely.
So,
well, this is all very exciting.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for coming on again and sharing with the folks. And you're more than welcome. Anything new going on in business, we love to talk about and share with the people. So I think this has been great. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for the opportunity. It's great to talk to you.
Wow, wasn't that a great episode?
That was awesome.
It sure was. And I want to thank you for stopping by.
Well, absolutely.
And as we share with the audience the sponsors that made this show possible, remember, it's not just the past, but the present that tells our story.